Good morning, Krakow. I think it's still time to say good morning for at least half an hour. So welcome, first of all. So today I will try to tell a story. I will tell a story about chaos, and out of the chaos we'll try to find some information, to extract information out of it. And using this information, we'll see how we brought value actually in our continuous delivery environment at Collibra. And using this value, we can create some feedback loops all around our CI/CD ecosystem. So that's why you will see those two images regularly. It's about having a jungle. I would call that a jungle of data, and how we can not get rid of this data, but at least to see more clearly having this data. But first of all, I would like to say a few words about myself, because I think most of you don't know me. So as you might have heard, I'm French, so I have a very strong accent. If you don't understand, raise your hand. So I come from a small city of Orléans in the middle of France. There is a Loire River. It's as beautiful as Krakow, actually. Sorry. My wife, she comes actually from Bremen, in the north of Germany. And of course, we met in Italy, in Pisa. I mean, it does make sense. And for more than 12 years now, I'm living in Brussels, Belgium. So I have quite a European feeling, and I'm very happy to travel all around Europe. So my name is Damien Courabeuf. You can easily contact me on Twitter using this handle. I'm mostly a family man. I love to be with my family. I love hiking, and on my spare time, I do a lot of role-playing. From a professional point of view, I've been actually in the Java world since 1996, so it's quite some time. That's why I have some gray hair. I used to be a developer. I used to be an architect, software architect. But in 2008, I decided to take a turn, and I decided to work full-time in continuous delivery. Why? Because I found that fun, and nobody wanted to do it, where I was actually. And since then, I'm working really 100% of my time doing this, mostly scaling pipelines at corporate scale. Currently, I'm working at Collibra for a bit more than 1 year, and I'm the CI/CD tech lead, if you want, with a great team. So what are we talking about today, you wonder? I will talk about CI/CD, of course. So what is CI/CD? For those who don't know, it's about continuous integration, continuous delivery. We could spend, the whole talk about explaining what this is about, but it's not the subject of this talk today. I'd like to summarize the idea of continuous delivery this way. You have an ID, you have a feature, you have a defect you need to fix, and you want to bring that to the customer in a very efficient way. So we want usually fast feedback. We want that to be secure. And when I say security here, I don't necessarily think only about the security aspect, but about the trust. Can we trust what we deliver to a customer? We want this to be, to have quality at all times. And we want that to be automated, because we want to reduce the time and human intervention. So that's why, and that will be the main subject of this talk today, that's why we need accountability and traceability. In order to trust a pipeline, we need to know what's in there. And why do we do that in the end? It's because we want to be able to release the content at all times, to make the customer happy. That's my main driver. That's what motivates me every day when I work. I want to see the feature moving as fast as possible in a trusted way to the customer. So at Collibra, what do we do to do this? I won't enter into the details of the pipeline and so on, because I will really work more on traceability issues. So we have some code. Most of you might work with that already. And this code, we put that in a Bitbucket server at Collibra, and we link that together with Jira issues. We put everything together, we build, we package everything together using a Jenkins instance, and we run a lot of tests. I will go back on that later, of course. And we package the stuff, we publish the stuff on Nexus repositories, on Amazon, on Docker registries, and so on. We also allow this code to be deployed at all times by using tools like Ansible and Amazon EC2 instances. And everything contributes to this CI/CD ecosystem. And of course, we scan for quality at all times. So check style, Sonar, Veracode, and we are adding new tools basically every 6 months. I'll talk about the pipeline, not really briefly, because that's where it all starts. So at Collibra, we have hundreds of projects, thousands of branches, and basically we commit a lot of code every day. And for every of those commits, we'll do horrible things to them. So it's all start by, we will build actually the code associated to this commit for every branch, for every project, and we will package it, and we will run many, many tests. So actually, that's a real pipeline that you see here. It's the main product, the biggest. And in order to save time, again, remember, we need a fast feedback. We have dozens and dozens of test modules, test categories running in parallel. And actually, it couldn't fit on one screen. So actually, you would have to scroll quite far to the bottom in order to see everything. And we do many things. We publish the code. We set some information into the associated tickets, and so on and so forth. But that's not all. That's what we call here the main pipeline. It's about giving also fast feedback to the developer so that it doesn't have to wait too much time in order to get information. And we have more pipelines, longer pipelines, like running acceptance tests. They do end-to-end regression testing, basically, and they run quite a long time, so we dissociate them from the main feedback loop to the developer. So it's a lot, again, of things happening to this tiny commit which started our story. And still on the same commit, we'll do quality scan. So them, they run quite a long time. We scan for security flaws, for flaws in the code quality, and so forth. So all those pipelines together, and I didn't list them all. We have also performance pipeline. We have deployment pipeline to be able to do demos to the project managers or even for some customers. And we have to imagine that we do that for a lot of projects, a lot of feature branches, release branches, maintenance branches, and for every commit. That's a lot of things happening every day. And all those tools, because we spoke a bit about Jenkins here and the pipeline, but we have actually a constant integration between all those tools. So Jenkins talking to Jenkins, we get information from the ticket, we publish artifacts in S3 or in Nexus, we deploy stuff on Amazon EC2, we scan the code, and we run some tests. So a lot of things are happening at all times. And actually, I like this diagram very much. That's part of my morning homepage. When I reach the office, I open this page. I will show a more complete dashboard later on. It's a number of events happening in our CI/CD system. It's a number of events per hour. So it starts in the morning. You know, people take their coffee, they start to code, commit and push. And then the whole machine takes off. And then we run some tests, we deploy everything automatically. And so we reach a peak just before lunch. Then people, they take the time to take their lunch, they take a coffee again, and they go back, they work a bit in the afternoon, they go back. So I want to show with this diagram that actually a lot happens at all times of the day. It's a lot of information. And that's what I call the jungle of data. We have so much data that we collect every day. It's unbelievable. I started to take conscience about this fact some years ago, and I thought, yeah, we might be able to do something with this data, because basically it's just lost. I have a classic question. I have a ticket, I'm a project manager, and the customer is pinging me every day, when is this ticket finished? Oh yeah, we'll look in Jira, you know. Yeah, I have no fixed version. Yeah, but the developers, they told me they had done something. Yeah, I can drill down. I can drill down in Jenkins. I can drill down in Bitbucket and see what build is associated to what and so on. But I'm a project manager. I don't have time to do that. I want the information immediately. So what I will show now is actually how to get this information, this raw information, and to get further with that. So don't get me wrong, I love the jungle. I love to hike in the jungle. So when I'm hiking, jungle is fine, but not when I work. So my goal here is to really get rid of this jungle. And believe me again, I love jungle. So let's start by bringing some order here. It's a matter of vocabulary and glossary most of the time. What are we talking about? So it's a matter of putting the right names to the correct concept. As I said before, everything starts with a commit. Of course, it's not the whole story. Many things happen before a commit happens, like a project manager or project owners discussing with a customer about a given feature, or planification. When should this fix be done, for example? I won't talk about that here. In my story, everything starts with a commit. So we have the notion of a commit. And out of this commit, or most unfortunately, out of a set of commits, because sometimes the pipelines are so long that we cannot afford to have one build per commit, we'll have a build. So we have already the concept of I'm starting to build a commit. And we'll associate also the notion of a version, or what we call a label, to this build. It's kind of display version or marketing version, the stuff we want to show, because we are working in continuous delivery, and it means that basically every commit is potentially a release. So that's why we have this label. It's often easier to read for a customer. And so we group everything together. We have the build, the label, the commit. And already we have meta information attached to that, because who did the commit, when, for what, like the list of tickets associated to this commit. So we start to build our glossary here. And now you remember this giant pipeline? Okay, that's the biggest we have, but most of the time they are quite big as well. For every test, every action we will do in this pipeline, we will call that a validation stamp. I will give a classical example. I will scan the quality of the code using SonarQube in our case. I will have a validation stamp called Sonar, and I will give it a status. Did it pass? Did it not pass? Did I get some warnings? How long did it take to complete? And what are the results? In Sonar, we have typically two kinds of results, a percentage of coverage, for example, and a list of issues, critical, high, and so forth. That's data as well. So for every build, for every set of commit, if you want, we will collect this data. And we call that a validation stamp with a lot of metadata associated to it. It's a very important concept, actually, the validation stamp in this story. So for the moment, I give you a lot of vocabulary, and we'll put that together later on. A promotion. What is a promotion? That's a higher level of abstraction. Given a commit, it goes through the pipeline, and in the end, it reaches a given level of quality. I call that a promotion. And in order to be able to communicate correctly inside the company, we give those names some abstract names, like metal names, like silver, gold, platinum. Everybody knows that gold is more precious than silver, so it makes sense somehow that we have reached a higher level of quality. So either we will reach those promotion level during a pipeline execution, or we will combine several validation stamps together in order to create a new promotion. A typical example for us, that's a quality promotion that we call gold. We need at least the SonarQube and the Veracode scan to be OK, to say the quality is there. And we can associate a given build with several promotions, because as long as your build progresses into the different pipelines, we'll give it several promotions. Following me so far? We'll have time to ask questions later on. So about the promotion, that's the four we have today. Iron, meaning all integration tests are OK, silver, and so on. I'll let you read here. The main idea is about a shared vocabulary. It happens at Collibra, we are quite good at sharing a vocabulary and describing our data. So we put that in our main software, which is Data Governance Center, and we define that for the whole company. So if a newcomer comes in and asks, yeah, but what is a gold promotion? Yeah, you look for it, and you have a formal definition and the relationship with the others and so on. It's a way to share information, and it happens magically, because when I started, yeah, I started to spread those concepts about iron, silver, But in the end, months after months, we started to see people talking about, yeah, I cannot do a release because I don't have a silver. So that's how you build a common vocabulary. So already, we start to extract concept out of this jungle because we see that people put a simple name, like gold, behind a quite complex concept. I'm done with the vocabulary. So how do we put that together? Because I described all the concepts we extract. So we'll use a tool called OnTrack. It's an open source tool. You can find it on GitHub. I've been working on it for a bit more than 8 years now. It's basically a system of record about CI/CD. So it is able to listen to everything in your system and to collect and put together all the CI/CD data. There is some documentation if you want to try that out at your own time. But I will now explain more what this tool can do and how we use it and how we get value out of it. It's a main view. You will see some people using the tool later on. It's about having one page which says it all. But it's raw information. It will get simpler, you will see. So all those concepts I talked about are there in this page. On the left, you have build after build, commit after commit, pouring in the whole day. And we have the corresponding label. And then each column is a validation stem. It's something we will do to this build or commit. And the small disk will indicate the status. So for example, if I see something red, it means this didn't pass. Immediately, I don't need to drill in my pipeline. I don't need to drill down in pipelines until I find the correct place. I see that immediately. In a former company I worked for, it was actually displayed on a TV because the view was refreshed automatically and we could see immediately, oh, something went wrong, we can do something. So we see the history of validation and so on. And we see also there is a column called promotion, and you see immediately what are the promotions. It's a raw view. It's still a lot of information. I still call that a jungle because it's a data, how you get it out of Jenkins. So it's a bit more formatted if you want, but still a lot of data. So what you can do is to filter. Oops, sorry. Okay, sorry. Filtering the view is a way you can work on two different axes. Let's say you are dealing only with quality and you want a bird's eye on what's happening and you want only the higher level of promotions. That's what you would do. You would filter the validation stem to keep only those you are interested into, and you will also filter the builds according to their level of promotion. For example, I want only the silver builds because the one which didn't reach silver, I don't care. They will go to the cemetery. Then you see immediately what is interesting for you. That's a view about one branch, let's say, one project. But of course, we are dealing with hundreds of projects and thousands of branches, so you might want to have even a further away view where you see directly what are the different levels of promotion where you got your project into. Like, for example, that's my typical page. I connect every morning to it, and I see, OK, this version of our main product has reached this version of promotion, and so forth and so on. So it's a way to have a quick overview. The build details, it's the other way around. You can drill down in the other direction. You want to have more information about a particular build. So that's where you see a lot of metadata suddenly pouring into your screen, like the level of promotion, all the validation stamps and their associated data, who did the commit, for which ticket, and so on and so forth. And I will come back to a notion which is important. It's about the build links here. I will come back to that later. That's where you will see actually added value starting to appear in this tool. So how do we use this information? Because today we still see raw data. We didn't really extract any information. So it's better looking. You don't have to drill down in all the tools we have in our CI/CD ecosystem, but we want to go a bit better. A classical use is what we call the interaction. So you remember we had a red dot at one point saying that a test had failed. A typical action of developers and testers would be to contribute on the status. For example, the tester understands, or here in this case the developer, yes, there is an actual problem here. So I will mark this status as being the result of a defect. And I will put a link to the actual Jira ticket. Just a parenthesis here. I'm talking about Bitbucket and Jira, but this tool supports also GitHub, GitLab, and so forth. So immediately in my dashboard now, I see this weird icon, orange with a red cross, and it means, oh, somebody said actually there is a defect here, which causes this issue. So I don't have to drill down any longer. I know somebody did his job because the test identified a defect. And lucky for us, it was fixed moments after. So complete traceability now provided by the end user, so developers, testers, and so on. You remember everything started with a commit? So the idea now is to put everything together. We have the commits, we have the tickets, we have the promotion, and so on. Yeah, list of commits between two builds reminds me about a changelog. OnTrack is pretty good at generating changelog between different levels of promotions. We can automate that completely. So, for example, for the generation of changelog from promotion to promotion, and so on. So for every development we do, we provide the developers and the tester. You see, from this deployment to this other, we have those tickets which were closed. And we don't need to interact with Jira. We have the actual information. It gets, I get the source of those events directly from the source control management. So again, it supports many other SCM. As I said, it can be automated. We can generate clean changelog automatically using Markdown, HTML, and so forth, and grouping issues by type, excluding some type of issues. So it's a matter of imagination sometimes on what you can do with this raw information you have in your CI/CD ecosystem. And actually, you can invert, once again, your point of view, because you had a changelog. But remember the question that the project manager was asking his teams is, I have a ticket, I want to know its status. Now it's just a matter of typing down the ticket number in a box on the home page, and he will have, after a few seconds, some information about where this ticket was, let's say, included, which level of promotion did it reach, and so on and so forth. So immediately, you don't have to ask or drill down in any tool, because this tool collects the information for you and allows you to query on it. Comparing version, it's the same thing. Usually, OnTrack has a very branch orientation, a branch point of view, but you can also compare different branches. It's pretty useful if you want to compare two releases and to know what had changed between the two. And when I say about changelog, it's about not only the list of commits, the tree of commits, let's say, but also the list of issues and all the file changes. I do that all the time. I see a test which has failed from one build to the other. I do a changelog. I see what had changed. I click on the diff. I know, oh, it's because somebody did change this piece of code. So it's pretty easy. I don't need any other tool, actually. Instead of going to Jenkins, to taking the two commits, going to Bitbucket, do a diff, no. I just do it here in one tool. Oops. Build links. For me, that's, how to say that, the most precious piece of information we have in CI/CD ecosystem. Because so far, we spoke only about the status of one project, one branch, one version, if you want. But it's a fact of life that usually components will depend on each other. So you build a project A, and you depend on a project B. This is very valuable information. And that's why one of the early goals of OnTrack was to keep this information in the system. So your build tool, Jenkins in this case, but we can integrate also with NPM or Gradle, will provide the links to different dependencies. and register them in OnTrack. So those dependencies, they can be external, they can be internal. And if they are internal, they are probably kept also in OnTrack. So that's what we call build links. We link build together. My version A1 depends on B2. And we put this information everywhere, in A, in B. We can navigate in both directions. So which component do use my version? That's information also which is useful. And what is great, I think, is to extract this information about build links into an external database, a graph database typically, where I'm using Neo4j. And then you can do magic queries, really. Because one thing which bothers me all the time is that, yeah, we are delivering the shiny A product, and it has reached a platinum promotion, everything's green. But I depend on B, which depends on C, and C was really a shitty version. How do you know that? It's not easy. You can follow the dependency graph quite easily with the tools we have nowadays, but how do you assert quality on a graph of dependencies? And this kind of buildings with register, we can have this information. So we can do queries typically, give me all the versions delivered to a customer where we have a dependency whose quality level is not satisfactory. And that's something we can do. Integration is everything. I strongly believe in that. I mean, whatever the tools you are working with, if it cannot integrate with the rest of your ecosystem, it's basically worthless. So very early on, OnTrack was designed as a single point of knowledge in the middle of everything and can interact with many, many tools. And you will see that we can even add other ones quite easily. So Git repository, of course. GitHub to have more added value about pull requests and issues and so on. GitLab as well. I know only one company using that, so I don't have a lot of feedback. Bitbucket, Subversion for historical reasons, don't ask, please. Artifactory as well, but Nexus could be possible. So many, many other things. Jira, of course, Jenkins. InfluxDB, I will talk about metrics a bit later. And Vault, because of course, if you followed the thing about the CI/CD ecosystem, we have to interact with a lot of other systems, and we need credentials. So we store the credentials in Vault. How do we interact with OnTrack itself? Using screens, of course, that's for us, human. But you can use also a Jenkins plugin and a GraphQL schema and a REST API. And if this is not enough, there is also a Groovy-based DSL. So if you have a Java-based client, you can always import the OnTrack DSL jar and talk to OnTrack directly. That's typically what the Jenkins plugin does, actually. So actually, we have stories. I will go back to that later, where developers have coded custom integration with OnTrack using this Groovy DSL. I will talk only one slide, because not everybody is using Jenkins, but there is basically a native integration between Jenkins and OnTrack at pipeline DSL level, where you can send your event very easily in a few lines to OnTrack. So that's up to you to define your pipeline so that you can send event to OnTrack. So OnTrack has most of the time a push approach, so that elements in your ecosystem push their events to OnTrack and not OnTrack pulling them out. It's still possible to do, and sometimes I've done that as well. Given the OnTrack architecture, it's pretty easy to extend to other CI engine because of those interfaces, GraphQL, the OnTrack DSL, and so forth. So if you want to use your own DSL like GitLab, you can use the shell step, for example, and provide events to GitLab. So now what we have done, let's say it was only about collecting data and having a way to see the data. But for me, it was never enough, because yeah, we see this data, we can filter it a bit, we can get information visually, we can even create some tools using the interfaces in order to have dashboards and so forth and so on, but we want also to get feedback out of it. in an automated way, because I'm 100% sure, convinced that in this field, automation is everything. How do we do that? The first classic use case, it's so simple that it is basically ubiquitous in our environment, is to get a list of promoted versions in order to go from pipeline to pipeline typically. So, for example, we provide a Jenkins job for some testers, and they are able to deploy an environment on demand. But we don't want them to deploy any version. We want them to be able to deploy only version which give sufficient high level of quality. So we just generate automatically some parameters at Jenkins level which get information out of OnTrack and generate a combo box. Very simple. It's one line of code in your Jenkins file to have something like that. But behind the scene, of course, we are already using data and refined data from OnTrack. Validation data. As I told you before, every time something happens, we create a validation and we put data, like a test summary, number of tests being passed and failed and ignored and so on. And we put this data together with the validation data, and then we can also filter out of it. Give me all the builds where this validation has reached this level of testing, for example. Or do I have some platinum version where some tests were purely ignored, which might give you a hint, and so on. Trigger-based promotion. Something also we do all the time. Sometimes it does not make sense to trigger, let's say, a quality pipeline if you have already some test failing. So we created a build and some integration test failed, and I don't want to use this build for scanning for SonarQube defects, for example. Does it make sense? I mean, there are some tests failing, I discard the build, I forget about it. It will still be in the system, but I don't want to take it into account. So what we do usually, we are using the OnTrack API to do some triggers based on promotion. So as soon as I have an iron promotion, hop, we'll have later on another pipeline trigger based on this promotion. And we can do that at every level, of course. So we have a nightly deployment, for example, where we prepare demo environments, and we will take always the latest silver version. That's also a typical example. So it's a way, actually, I call that quality gates. It's a way to make sure your pipelines communicate with each other only based not on the commit, but on the given level of promotion. Metrics, so you remember this graph I showed initially, so that general CI/CD activity. It's pretty awesome, actually, to see that evolving every day. And we have also a number of project branches at build, so I can use this information for project management report to see, okay, here is the status of our CI/CD ecosystem today. So basic information, how long does my build take? We have the information on OnTrack. We can display it pretty easily in Grafana, for example, through data being exported in Prometheus. Duration of every of the test modules, and test metrics as well. I find that particularly interesting. You see, for example, okay, suddenly my number of tests dropped. What has happened? Might be worth to ask the development team why suddenly we had hundreds of tests disappearing. In this case, it was okay, we were moved to other kinds of tests, so everything was good. But I think the best way to describe how OnTrack is used actually to give a bit some user the way to describe what they do day after day at Collibra at least. So I asked them if they could kindly tell me how they use that, how they use OnTrack every day with one sentence. So there is Kevin Noel, for example, a backend engineer, and for me it's a typical example of how also I use OnTrack every day with this overview page with everything happening. I see something is wrong, I can give a comment on it. Yeah, it's wrong because my test was unstable. It's wrong because there is an actual defect, and so forth and so on. So it's a classic example. There is also Maciej Wajda. So he's a QA engineer, and what he will do also is to go further and check a change log out of what has happened. So he sees a test suddenly failing, and he will go to the change log between the build where it was still okay and the build is started to fail, and compare the things and get some insight of what might have broken the test. Could be some code, could be the test itself, could be some infra problem, but at least he will have an idea. And he will be able to contact the correct person as well, because we have this information out of the commits and the tickets. So not to blame, of course, but to help fix the resolution. We have Michael Mass. Now, Michael Mass is a big data specialist. He does very, very complex and unbelievable pipelines orchestration in order to push some stuff directly in production. So it's pretty awesome what he does. And as part of his numerous pipelines, he does a lot of performance tests. And he's able to put these performance metrics into OnTrack and to use the values of those metrics as a feedback to other pipelines, still using OnTrack. So actually, he should do a talk as well explaining what he has done, because even as a developer on OnTrack, I have difficulties to follow now. This way, actually, what he explained to me was he was able to follow the performance leak from component to component. So you have a fast component on the left, and on the right, you have a degradation, and you will be able to trace back this performance leak. Maurizio Moscatelli, also backend engineer at Collibra. So we have this concept of weekly guardian, where every week we have a different person who is in charge of monitoring the health of the ecosystem for a given project. And that's also, for him, a very nice way. One page, he sees immediately what has happened in the last minute. Okay, work less and less. And that's the sad truth. So we have seen a lot of features of this tool, what we can get out of CI data. And my experience says, at Collibra, but also in previous companies, it is never enough. It's never enough to have this data. And that's why OnTrack was built from day one as an extension system. So it's pretty easy to extend OnTrack in order to support other things, new connectors. Let's say I want to support connection to Nexus in order to have some stats about the artifacts. I want to connect to Amazon EC2 in order to get information out of our deployment instances and so on. That's all real ideas, by the way. We just didn't do it yet. And we can extend OnTrack in order to add new services, new screens, new connectors, new interfaces, and so on, using the framework of OnTrack itself. So I will give you some example of what we've done so far. But really, as the last sentence of this slide, imagination is the limit, because if you pay attention to what you have in your CI/CD system every day, you will see that there is a lot of precious things that might actually answer some of your questions you have. And using a system command track, easily extensible, that's something you could do. So I will tell 3 short stories. A simple one, like, sorry, it doesn't work very much now. Like a simple dashboard. So we can have this displayed on TVs, and we see immediately, based on information coming out of OnTrack, like time since a promotion, how long did it take to build, we can display valuable and summarize information, most of all, to a developer. So given the amount of information we have, we display on-demand dashboards to the developers. Yeah, of course, we could do that with Jenkins. Of course, you could do that with Bitbucket and so on and so forth. But the advantage of having this one tool which collects all the data for you is that extension like that is pretty easy to do. PR creation and promotion. That's a complex thing we do. It's about managing dependencies between components in an automated way and with control of the quality. So, of course, you can always have auto-dependency upgrades based, I don't know, on NPM or yarn locks or Gradle locks in our case. But where is the quality here? You have a new version popped up somewhere, so of course you could use staging repositories and so on, but what we do here is something a bit more complex. The parent will declare what it depends upon. And he will say, I depend on this component, but only if it had reached sufficient high level of quality, let's say iron in this case. So whenever my dependency reaches this level, OnTrack takes over. It has the information, and it will automatically create a pull request in the parent, if you want, upgrading the version of the dependency. And then the normal CI/CD ecosystem takes the relay, because the PR will be controlled automatically by Jenkins, and if the build is green, it will be merged automatically. And what is my safety here is that I've taken only a version which has a sufficient high level of quality, and two, I controlled automatically that I didn't break anything. So it's a matter of propagating automatically version upgrades in your ecosystem, making sure that you don't break anything and you preserve quality. Custom metrics, that's one we added recently. For example, that's the time to promotion. How long does it take in your organization to go from a commit to a deliverable? And we see, for example, on this graph that it goes down with the time, which is good because we want to accelerate the continuous delivery process. So we see that we can deliver a fix in a shorter and shorter amount of time. So for me, it's very, very valuable information. But in order to get this very simple, tiny metric, I had to collect a lot of information before. We want also to have dedicated metrics. I won't spend time on this. Actually, I see time is running out, so I will accelerate a bit. If you want to try, it's pretty easy. I mean, OnTrack is just a Spring Boot jar. It just requires Postgres, optionally InfluxDB. In Collibra, we require also RabbitMQ. You can install it pretty easily with Docker Compose. It has been tested OK with Amazon RDS Postgres database. And it has been tested OK with Kubernetes. OnTrack being deployed on Kubernetes, but it's not production ready, I would say. OnTrack is a pretty critical system. I mean, if OnTrack is down, we have some issues. So a lot of emphasis has been put on its high availability status. We have a lot of jobs running in the background, and we have an admin console actually which allow authenticated user to administrate that quite easily. We have also built-in metrics based on Spring Boot, and also custom OnTrack metrics to have more ops metrics on what happens in the system to see if there are some anomalies. To be honest, since I installed it at Collibra, it's pretty stable, and the scalability has just kept to increase basically every day, and the system holds because it's just a system of record in the end. Security, it's always a concern. It's taken into account, so authentication can be done using built-in user or LDAP. I'm working on a Okta integration. Authorization, you have a complex LCL system based on roles and functions. Everything is extensible as always, so if you want to bring your own roles and functions, you can still do that. And OnTrack is built on the isolation between processes and between projects. So it's not because you are seeing project A that you can see project B, but we have the notion of cross-project roles. That's it. So if you want more information, you can go to the website, of course. I encourage you to use it, to try it at least, and to create tickets if need be, and to extend. And we have a bit of time, 5 minutes for questions. Maybe I will give you a microphone.
Hi. So as I understand, you're using OnTrack on your own infrastructure and managing it on your own. Are there any service providers which are providing this as a service, and have you ever considered switching to it?
I think OnTrack as a service would be awesome, but there is one big constraint about security because it needs access to critical systems like source control management and so forth. So as of now, we do that on private cloud. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Other question? If you have any more questions, you can go to the stand here, of course, now, or I will be also available on the Collibra booth downstairs and close to the entrance, so you are welcome to see us. There is a lot of swag, and you can discuss about that further. So I would like to say a big you to the Devoxx team, first of all, to Collibra as well, to sponsor this, and to Marcin and Mathieu, which have motivated me actually to talk about OnTrack today. So big thank you to them, and also to all the users of OnTrack, not only at Collibra, but elsewhere. So thank you very much.